All right, Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Back with another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rakakwadash. All right, let's just jump right into it. All right, let's play this first.
I know where they're putting human body parts into the pig supply and the pork supply. The Reynolds family does own, used to own 60% of all the crematoriums and moratoriums in the United States and funeral homes. And they would dispose of bodies that way too. Pig farms. Pig farms. Because a pig will dispose. A couple of pigs will dispose of a body in a few minutes. And then they feed that to the populace. Don't eat pig.
That you didn't raise yourself.
Could not strongly warn people against that enough. Parasites of hookworms are serious things. That's why a lot of Southerners are what Southerners are. Understand something. Southerners and a lot of their speech and their cadence and their rhythm, it's hookworms. 9 out of 10 times.
Really?
1 for 1, they are ruled by parasites. Detox them, their brains turn on and they're sharp and capable communicators almost immediately. Tapeworms and hookworms come pouring out of them. But they were mostly fed pork diets. Whereas out west, you see a lot less of it. And in the north, because beef tended to be the predominant thing. Sheep before that, but beef tended to feed them a lot more often. And they're far less prone to feeding you the parasites. So something to consider. Change your life forever. Do a detox, man.
Well, I got like a whole freezer full of pork right now. Even the ones that I raised.
Bro, he gave us some instructions in the scriptures to try to keep us away from stuff that's definitely deadly. Pig is 100% an animal we know gets possessed by demons. Absolutely. The legions that come out of the two men, the demoniacs in the tombs, where do they go?
Pigs.
Straight into the pigs. And the pigs are fully possessed, total possession. Think about this. The power, the spiritual possession capacity of 1 man, 2 man, depending on which account you're in, filled a herd of pigs and it drowned them in the sea. That's because those spirits, when they lose their assignment on their target, they better bring a sacrifice back with them so they don't get their stinking lunch eaten by the higher principality that's ruling them. This is why swine and pork is so heavily warned about in the scriptures. Like, don't eat it. Don't eat it. When you abstain from these things, like my family and I just started trying to eat the way that the scripture said, like literally. And it was unbelievable how many of the lights turned on in our brains, you know, and like why it was valuable for us to try to find clean sourced food.
And it's commonly known in holistic medicine that a lot of the unclean animals are extremely toxic, like pork. Do you know that's the never-ending rotting meat? It does not stop rotting. It doesn't matter if you freeze it. I don't even know if it matters if you dry freeze it. Maybe that would be different, but it doesn't matter if you freeze it or not. The meat continues to rot. And it's parasitic ridden. And the parasites are normally in cyst form. So that means when you cook it, you can't kill them because they're protected. But the cysts get in your body and then they start hatching because they're in a nice warm environment. And then you get parasites. So you cannot cook the parasites out of pork and the pork doesn't stop rotting. And we know pork is tied to a lot of health issues, a lot of them.
Dad, I don't eat swine. It's unclean meat.
Swine? When did you stop eating pork?
Jazz, you know you love bacon. Are you feeling all right?
I'm fine. It's just Professor Louis said our bodies weren't designed to be eating unclean animals such as pigs. And I tend to agree with him. I mean, so high in sodium. It's probably one of the reasons why African Americans have high blood pressure. We gotta start breaking these generational curses.
You do have a point there.
Look at you, sitting there smacking on that bacon. You have no idea what it's doing to your body. Destroying you from the inside out. It's okay, just ignorant.
I'm ignorant.
Just a little bit. Ignorance is greasy sometimes.
Yeah, so this this lesson is going into the dietary laws, right? Which our people openly refuse to keep, and these laws, they're found in the book of Leviticus chapter 11 and Deuteronomy chapter 14. All right. The Lord Yahweh Shai created animals that are clean, meaning lawful to eat, and animals that are unclean, not lawful to eat. All right. And I wanted to get into that. That's why I put these videos together, just to show our people. But regardless, our people are still not going to listen anyway. But I just wanted to put this out for edification right now. And I have it pulled up in the chat GPT as well. We'll go through that. But here in Leviticus chapter 11, right? It goes into the laws about animals for food, right? So it says, and we're not going to read through it all, but just reading a couple of precepts and then going on to the chat here. But it says laws about animals for food, Leviticus 11:1. It says, "In the Lord Yahweh Shai spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying unto them, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, these are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth." Verse 3. Whatsoever parteth the hoof and is cloven footed and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that ye shall eat. Verse 4. Nevertheless, these shall you not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof, as the camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. It says, in the coney, because he cheweth the cud and divideth not the hoof, he is unclean to you. In the hare, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. In the swine, though he divide the hoof and be cloven footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean unto you. Of their flesh shall you not eat, and their carcass you shall not touch. They are unclean to you. And the rest reads on. You can read the rest of the chapter. So like I said, Leviticus 11 and also Deuteronomy 14 goes into it as well, clean and unclean animals. Now, I want to go into this, the chat GPT, because I put it in. All right. And it says, let's pull it up. I had it explain, the dietary law and clean and unclean animals, right? Bear with me. Okay. So it goes into excellent question. Leviticus 11 in this parallel, Deuteronomy 14 lays out the dietary laws the Most High gave to the children of Israel, distinguishing between clean and unclean animals, right? So Leviticus 11:7, as we just read, and the swine, though it divide the hoof and be cloven footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you. It says this verse refers to the pig, swine. It has split hooves, which meet one of the qualifications for a clean land animal, but does not chew the cud, meaning it does not regurgitate and redigest its food like cattle or sheep. Because it only meets one of the two requirements, it is unclean, meaning Israelites were forbidden to eat it, right? And see, and there's a reason why Yahweh Shem Shai gave us these dietary laws, okay, to keep us clean and healthy, man, right? But you got our people, the majority that will make the excuse about the laws being done away with, which we'll get that later on in this lesson, all right, which is all bullshit. And you wonder why, like the chick said in the video, if I could just make a quick reference, right? Not to rant, but like she was saying in the video about the generational curses and all of that, right? And that it's not really the generational curses. It's really Jake's diet is fucked up, man. See, a lot of these diseases and infections and these health issues really go back to Jake's diet, man, not keeping the dietary laws. All right, this is why Jake, when it comes to the, as you hear Esau, he'll bring it out. He'll talk about the so-called black and brown community, how they suffer from the worst health complications. There's a reason why. Okay, heart disease, diabetes, heart failure, brain tumors, various forms of cancer, right? Colon cancer, intestinal cancer, all right, infections, mental health. It all goes back really to the diet, man. Right? Jake don't want to keep the dietary laws because niggas will eat anything. This video is all over the internet, right? Which we've seen of Jake cooking possum, rats. All right, niggas is eating cats and dogs. All right, squirrels, snakes, alligators. All right, we didn't see it. So Jake has no regard when it comes to the law, the dietary law of the Most High, man. This is why our people are jacked up, physically and spiritually. But anyway, going back, read some more here, right? The dietary law overview, Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14. Clean the land animals. Clean land animals. This is to be clean. The animal must meet 2 conditions. Chew the cud, number 1. Number 2, have a divided cloven hoof. Right? So it says chew the cud, digest the food through multiple stomach chambers. And 2, have a divided cloven hoof. Examples of clean animals. It says cattle, ox, cows, sheep, goats, deer. It says examples of unclean. Swine, pigs divide the hoof but doesn't chew the cud. Camel chews the cud but doesn't have a divided hoof. Rabbit chews partially, moves jaw but doesn't have a true divided hoof. All right, so this is what that means when you read that. Okay, it says clean sea creatures, Leviticus 9 through 12. Clean water animals must have fins and scales. It says clean salmon, trout, tilapia, cod, etc. All right, we don't recommend you eating that tilapia neither, because a lot of that shit is farm raised, right? They feed it that GMO corn. Is not ideal for you, you know. Unclean catfish, no scales, shrimp, lobster, crab, oysters, clam, etc. All right, which our people eat all of this shit, man. Okay. It says, and like it talked about in the video about the pork, it's the same thing with these unclean animals as well. Jake is just full of parasites, man. You know, these bottom feeder animals that, you know, like the shrimp, the crab, these animals are designed to keep the ocean, you know, clean. The scavengers, you know, to clean up the waste or whatnot. But these foods have become a delicacy in the so-called, you know, black and brown community. This is why I said, this is why Jake, when it comes to our people's health, you know, niggas are sick, man. All types of health issues and complications, man. Right? People are dropping dead left and right. It says the unclean sea creatures are bottom feeders and scavengers. They clean up dead matter not meant for food. Right? This is why the Lord created that separation between the clean and the unclean animals, those that were lawful to eat and those that were unlawful to eat. Right? Let's read some more. Clean birds, Leviticus 11, 13 through 20 lists specific unclean birds, mostly predators and scavengers. Clean chicken, turkey, dove, pigeon, quail, unclean, eagle, vulture, hawk, raven, owl, ostrich, etc. It says clean birds are generally seed eaters or grain eaters, not flesh eaters. All right. A little bit more here. It says clean insects, Leviticus 11, 21 through 22. Only certain locusts and grasshoppers are clean. Clean locust, bald locust, cricket, grasshopper, unclean, all other flying insects. Purpose of the dietary laws, holiness and separation, Leviticus 11, 44 through 47. For I am the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, your power. You should not therefore sanctify yourselves. You should therefore sanctify yourselves and should be holy, for I am holy. The dietary laws distinguish Israel from other nations. It was about obedience and holiness, not merely health. Right? Health and cleanliness. Many unclean animals carry diseases or toxins. Examples given: pork can carry trichinosis. Shellfish accumulate heavy metals. All right, as we saw in the video, the parasites, the different diseases, the worms, the shit that's found in that pork, and also these unclean animals as well. It says the Most High designed these laws for the well-being of his people. All right, this is the purpose of having the dietary laws. Okay, these weren't written for no reason. Right? It says spiritual symbolism. Clean animals often symbolize purity and righteousness. Unclean ones symbolize corruption, uncleanness, and spiritual defilement. Right? And a lot of our people are spiritually defiled, you know, and they refuse to. Hey, Jake will fight you when you tell him to keep these dietary laws. You know. Let's see. It gives you a key takeaway. All right, so on and so forth. Spiritual summary. It says the dietary law teaches discipline, holiness, and separation from worldly customs. Eating clean is part of living according to the covenant, showing obedience to the Most High's design of what is good for the body and spirit. Right. So that's the point. I thought this was pretty good, coming from the chat here. But this is the reason why we have these dietary laws. Right. So like I said, a lot of this stuff that our people suffer, as far as health complications, it really goes back to these dietary laws, right? And you niggas that's out there that's trying to make excuses, and the Lord's going to destroy you. All right? Make a point on that too. And we'll wrap this up. I wanted to just get straight to the point, right? But this is Isaiah 65. Thinking about that one. All right, Isaiah 65, and we'll start at the top here. It says, Isaiah 65:1. It says, a rebellious people. Isaiah 65:1. I am sought of them that asked not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. I said, behold me unto a nation that was not called by my name. Verse 2. Salaki, bear with me 1 second. Oh, 1 second. Salaki, 1 second, man. It's super cold up here. I got this heat on and it ain't doing shit. Salaki, give me 1 second. This weather change is crazy. All right. Anyway, back in Isaiah 65 in verse 2, it says, I have spread out my hands all day unto a rebellious people. That's you Israelites, which walketh in a way that was not good after their own thoughts. And that's what I said earlier. Jake, regardless of the information that's being presented right now, niggas are still going to eat the pork, the crab, the lobster, the shrimp. They're still going to eat these unclean animals. They're still going to make excuses, because you are those rebellious people coming back. All right? That which walketh in a way that was not good after their own thoughts. Niggas are going to do what they want to do at the end of the day. Right? That's how they were programmed. Verse 3, a people that provoketh me to anger continually to my face, that sacrificeth in gardens and burneth incense upon altars of brick. Verse 4, which remain among the graves and lodge in monuments, which eats swine's flesh and broth abominable things in their vessels. And Jake does that to this day. I posted a video some time ago. Jake was frying up barbecuing some fucking possum or something like that. He had alligator. He was frying up like alligator nuggets or something like that. There's this Jake out there in South Carolina. He goes viral for a lot of his videos that he does, like these cooking videos in his backyard. Nigga be frying up all types of shit. Possums and alligator meat, rats and squirrels and shit. All right? And that's what Jake was doing back then. It's the same thing now. Right? It says, which stand by thyself, which say, stand by thyself, come not near to me, for I am holier than thou. These are a smoke in my nose and a fire that burneth all day. And the Lord is gonna get with you, you rebellious ass Israelites out there, man. Right? I was thinking about that one in Isaiah as well. I think it's Isaiah 66. Because yes, the Lord's going to destroy you from eating pork, man, and swine and these abominable foods, right? Where's that at? Isaiah 66 and 17, right? Isaiah 66 and 17, it says that they sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh and the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai. So yes, the Lord's going to destroy you niggas for eating these wicked and abominable foods, man. And like I said, you wonder why, our people are just dropping dead and they suffer from the things they suffer because they simply don't want to keep the dietary laws, right? This is why Jake is all jacked up, obese, out of shape. Look at our people, man. And they'll eat anything, man. Right? But a nigga will pop up and say, oh, well, the laws is done away with. Right? Well, hey, let's show us that in the scriptures. Right? This is Romans 7 and 1. And it reads, it says, know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, how that the law have dominion over a man as long as he liveth. So what are you people talking about? All right. You Christians talking about the laws done away with. The Lord made everything, clean for us to eat. All you got to do is pray over it. That's all bullshit, man. All right. The law, statute, and commandments are still in effect. And this is why we rehearse the righteous acts. We keep the laws to the best of our ability, man. Because don't get me wrong. Yeah, you got shit. You got food out there, right? You got food products, okay, that have the pork and shit up in there. Certain foods that Esau has on the market that has the pork and stuff like that in the ingredients, right? But that's out of our power. We pray over these things, but the laws that we can keep, all right, we're going to keep them to the best of our ability, man. So there's no excuse, right? Romans 7:1 again, know you not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, how that the law have dominion over a man as long as he liveth, right? So the law is still in effect, man, regardless of what you people try to say, right? Where's another one? Was it Matthew 19? Because even Yahushua kept the law, right? Was it Matthew 19 and 16, I believe? Bear with me one second. Was it Matthew 19, 15, 16? Let's see. Yep. Matthew 16 and Matthew 19, 16. And behold, one came and said unto him, good master, what good things shall I do that I may have eternal life? And he said unto him, why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is the Most High. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments, right? And he said unto him, which Yahushua said, thou shalt do no murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness. Honor thy father and thy mother, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself, right? So again, even Yahushua, taught to keep the commandments, man. So there's no way around it. All right, let me get one more. What's another one? Bear with me. Was it Matthew or Romans? Is another one in Romans. I was just thinking about the law. All right, Romans 3:31. All right, this is Romans 3:31. It says, do we then make void the law through faith? God forbid, yea, we establish the law. See that? So it's through obedience, right? Through our obedience, we keep the laws to the best of our ability to show that we have faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushua, So again, those arguments about the law being done away with and how the Lord made everything clean for us to eat is all bullshit, right? Where's another one they talk about? The one in Acts, right? Let's get that too. Because that's another one that they run to, right? It's Acts the 10th chapter. Let's go there real quick. It's Acts 10, and we'll start at verse 1 here. All right, this is Acts chapter 10 and verse 1. All right, just to make that point, we'll wrap it up. This is Acts 10 and 1. And it reads, it says, and there was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band. All right, so first and foremost, Cornelius was an Israelite, all right, in the Roman army, the Italian band. Okay, he wasn't a heathen, right? This is verse 2. A devout man and one that feared the Most High with all his house, right? That's the indicator right there that he was an Israelite. A devout man and one that feared the Most High with all his house, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to the Most High always. Verse 3, and he says, he saw in a vision, evidently about the 9th hour of the day, an angel of the Most High coming into him and saying unto him, Cornelius. Verse 4, and when he looked on him, he was afraid and said, what is it, Lord? And he said unto him, thy prayers and thy alms are come up for a memorial before the Most High. Verse 5, and now send men to Joppa and call and called for one Simon, whose surname is Peter. He lodged with Simon, a tanner, whose house is by the seaside. He shall tell thee what thou oughtest to do. And when the angel spake unto Cornelius was departed, he called 2 of his household servants and a devout soldier of them that waited on him continually. Right? Verse 8. And when he had declared all these things unto them, he sent them to Joppa on the morrow as they went on their journey and drew nigh unto the city. Peter went up upon the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. And became very hungry and had eaten, but while they were made ready, he fell into a trance, right? So he fell into a trance. The Lord gave him a vision, as we're reading here, right? Verse 11, it says, and saw heaven open, and a certain vessel descending unto him, as it had been a great sheet knit at the 4 corners and let down to the earth, right? And this is spiritual here, man. All right, because that 4 corners, right? Who was scattered to the 4 corners of the earth? All right, according to prophecy, the Israelites were scattered, all right, to those 4 corners, man. All right, verse 12, it says, wherein were all manner of 4-footed beasts of the earth and wild beasts and creeping things and fowls of the air. All right, so this is like a similitude, if you will, of Israelites in a Gentile state of mind. Okay, they were like a beast, right? Verse 13, and there came a voice to him, rise, Peter, kill and eat. Right? Verse 14, and Peter said, not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common and unclean. Because Peter, he was raised in the law. So he's telling the Lord, like, I never ate anything that was common or unclean, right? But this is what the Lord was saying, right? Verse 15, and the voice spake unto him again the second time, what the Most High have cleansed, with the Most High have cleansed, thou call not thou common, all right? So pretty much what the Lord was telling Peter is to, to go teach and go speak to those Israelite foreigners. This has nothing to do with, how the Lord, made everything clean to eat. As Christians like to twist the scripture. That's not what he's talking about. All right. He was commanded to go basically to go feed the Gentiles, the Israelite foreigners, with the word. Because those Israelite foreigners, they became clean through faith, through the belief on Yahweh Shai, man. This is what this is getting into. And Cornelius, right, was the beginning of the Israelite foreigners, being opened up to the word, man. It says, verse 15 again, it says, and the voice spake unto him again a second time, what the Most High have cleansed, that call not thou common. This was done thrice, and the vessel was received up again into heaven. All right, so this is what this is talking about, man. It ain't got nothing to do about, the Lord made everything clean to eat and all of that. This is talking about the Israelite foreigners receiving the word, man. All right. But the point is, all right, the Lord had created these dietary laws to keep us, separated and clean, So that's what I was just thinking about, man, but regardless, Jake is still not going to adhere to the word, man, with all this information out there, So, I pretty this quick lesson was edifying, I just wanted to get into the dietary laws and whatnot, But shalom to the next one. Shalom.